Good evening. What a day it has been in terms of news that is coming in. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It has continued for so long. And finally, it is a yes from Pakistan, albeit a bit delayed. The game between Pakistan and UAE is happening. A game that otherwise nobody would have batted an eyelid for. Nobody would have probably seen, barring a few handful of cricket fans. I think today we'll get some high ratings, high TRPs because of the drama that has unfolded leading up to the game. Before we dive into the discussion, and there are many aspects to discuss with my colleagues and Harshit and Siddharth, just to let you know what the latest is, and I'm just stating facts. Two big things for everyone to know, or three in fact. One, the game is on. Pakistan have left the team hotel and reached the ground. Two, the game has been pushed back by 1 hour. So instead of 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time, the game is starting 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And third, and most importantly, the match referee for the game remains a certain Andy Pycroft, because the ICC, as they had stated yesterday as well, despite some more meetings today, as they had stated yesterday, which we had reported, their stance hasn't changed. They've said that Andy Pycroft as a match referee has done nothing wrong. Full stop. All that in mind, a game is on. So my first question to you, both learned gents, is, if match referee was also not going to change and everything was going to go on as the way it is, or as we had reported on Sports Today last night, the game is going to be on 100%. If everything was known by PCB, by the Pakistani players, by you, by me, by Sports Today, by our viewers, everyone, then why this Kolavari where you have pushed the game by 1 hour? I want to know that.
This was drame-bazi at its highest. Total drame-bazi. And if I'm the UAE team today, I will be enraged. Because of your whims and fancies, because of your drame-bazi, there was no rain, there was no anything. You forcefully delayed the match by 1 hour. Number one. Number two.
So question on that. Can technically a team be given a walkover for Pakistan team reaching late?
They should.
For the last 1 hour that the story was developing, snowballing, and becoming bigger and fattier and fatter and juicier, that is a thought, I must say, that did cross my mind. On what grounds do you tell UAE, which was patiently waiting since 7 o'clock?
They're the hosts, by the way.
Exactly.
In the sense, hosts are India, but it's happening in UAE.
Yeah, they also skin in the game now. They've been asked
Emirates Cricket Board is managing everything.
Exactly.
For the first time, I'm seeing toss delayed in the UAE match. So in UAE, first time I'm seeing toss delayed.
Technically.
And it was rain, na?
Yeah. I was looking at things and this thought did cross my mind that technically, if you want to add just the final layer of drama, just give this whole saga a little bit more climax, if there is room for more, let the Pakistan team reach, and on official ground, then you can say, listen, you're late.
Sorry. 2 points to UAE.
And you can go ahead and shoot off another letter after that.
Yeah, but it never happens. Yeah.
He's saying like we are called late today when we come late. But nobody can sanction us and take 2 points away from us.
But again, we were not late today because how can we ignore this when there were so many snowballing developments that were happening? You know what this gave me today is that, okay, Pakistan it took me back 15 years ago. You remember in that infamous spot fixing saga, the last day of the Lord's Test match, there was perfect weather, but because there were so many hectic backroom negotiations at that time, I think Yavar Saeed was the manager. He was like in discussions with the PCB and all, what to do, should we play or forfeit the game. The game got delayed by 2 hours, but yet it was a mere formality as Pakistan got knocked out very cheaply in that sense. Here they tried certain tactics, but all boomeranged, but typical Pakistan's delusional way. What was the need for Salman Ali Agha to give a victory sign? What did he achieve? What did the PCB achieve?
Where did he give the victory?
During one of the visuals, I read that they showed a victory sign, a V sign, Salman Agha.
He wouldn't have understood that that's for victory.
Where is the victory?
It would have been like hi type.
Peace.
But I just want to know what the victory is.
It's like, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this is rock and roll, right?
He didn't do this,
cool.
he did this.
I'm just saying, sometimes you don't know the sign.
I'm glad he did.
The sign, yeah.
I'm
There
glad
is no victory for them.
I'm glad he didn't choose to pick one of his fingers and flick it.
No. Then that would have been
And that
Yeah.
would have been even-
sanction. By the way, they talking about victory. Let's not forget the main thing. They will have to win the game today. They will definitely need a victory on the field to earn the right to play India
On
again or
21st.
qualify for the Super 4. If they're not, if they lose this game, then they're knocked out anyway and all this drama can end. But having said that, I don't know whether Pakistan players will in that sense be in the right frame of mind. It can't always be, very easy that you will play, you're not play. Though I informed on Sports Today, last night only they were told that you're playing. You are 100% playing. This morning also they were told you are playing. I think all this drama has been done of dealing when they had made up their mind that they are playing. They had conveyed it to the players that they are playing. The journalists knew that the game is going to happen. The broadcasters knew that the game is going to happen. The Emirates Cricket Board, everyone knew the game is going to happen. Everyone knew that. I think this drama was done as a face-saving exercise to let their people know that, see, we are fighting, because how would you have gone to the ground on cue, on right time, knowing fully well that Andy Pycroft would have been the match referee? That would have been, rather embarrassing for Pakistan to go with this drama. Now what you've done is you've done some sort of diversion for your people, where they think, we were threatening, it's not happening, this and that, and Pycroft would have come, but still look at, they may have asked us, and you can twist it anyway. I think this drama was created as a diversionary tactic. That's one. And secondly, they couldn't have pulled out because the repercussions of that is something that they cannot deal with. It's not just the monetary repercussions. That, of course, whatever, $16.5 million that they get from this kitty, which is almost 8 to 10% of their yearly income, that is a big loss. But even if they were to, let go of that, saying, okay, we'll take a 10% hit of the year. Boss, you were actually taking ICC head on. It's not just, okay, Asian Cricket Council, we'll see. You're taking ICC head on. From here on, every match that you play, every important will be part of the ICC. ICC could put long-term sanctions on you, keep you out of some major ICC tournaments, or put financial sanctions. Not only do you lose out on the kitty that you're going to get from here, some major sanctions for which you'd have to pay. So I think down the line, in their heads, everyone, whether they were from the Pakistan government or the PCB, everyone knew that pulling out was not an option. Pulling out would have not only left them red-faced, it would have brought on such consequences that they wouldn't have been able to handle it. So they created this, 1 hour of a little bit of drama. You and I also were engaged as newsmen. People who are watching also engaged. Maybe something to tell their people back home. Because the big news is, what do you tell them now? Andy Pycroft, ladies and gentlemen, is the match referee.
Correct.
What do you tell your people?
I think the common man over there as well should have understood by now. You've not won anything. What were the conditions that you had in mind? What was the biggest thing? You decided to pick the fight not with the Indian team. Also, you would have lost that fight as well. But you decided to take the fight to the ICC. You decided to make the match referee the villain. So the point of focus was the match referee. If for the last 3 days I am battling around getting that match referee removed, not only is he not removed, which was my primary thing, he is now, to add salt to the wound, he's going to be officiating another match. The very next match after the match that you played, he's back at you officiating. So the two things that you had in mind, everything that you've been doing, the common man, you would have understood by now that all of this is nothing but some political drama. This is what political parties, we were talking about what political parties do. There were a few of those. I saw those visuals. There was Mohsin Naqvi over there. There was Najam Sethi, people who have a lot to do with the politics of the country. They know what is it that can be done to fool the public at times, to make the public understand that, or project an image to the people that, we're working behind the doors, we're there for you, we're your voice, we're the ones fighting it out. However, the common man would have understood on both the fronts that you had in mind. You've lost on both those fronts. Nothing really has happened. So yeah, it's just
What this has done is, it has made Andy Pycroft the most popular Zimbabwean in Pakistan, after one particular batter who was named for that. Okay, Andy Pycroft is the most popular Zimbabwean in the world at this point in time. Okay, Pakistan used to tease Zimbabwe with a certain bit. Now karma fights back. in more ways than one. So yes, I'm happy that Andy Pycroft is at least more popular in the world at this point. But see, all this, as I said at the very beginning of the show, Nautankibazi and Dramebazi, it is there in the makeup of the Pakistan team and the administrators. I mean, they follow this perfect example of GTU. Gire tabhi tang upar. That's the philosophy by which they've been living on ever since creation. Girte rehte hain, but hamesha tang upar. Always. There has never been a moment where they have never ever put their legs down and said, boss, you're wrong. Pakistan didn't achieve anything on the field in the India game. They will not achieve anything off the field also, because how on earth can a match referee influence any particular way of how the team is behaving at that moment? It's irrational. They can't look within themselves, because they know that they are outplayed, outwitted, outsmarted on the field. So what do? Blame a third party in Andy Pycroft, and he's a Zimbabwean, so they'll obviously want to ensure we take a hit at the soft target.
They don't like him for a while now.
Of course, there is history behind it. You would also know, because when in the heights of the chucking controversies that enveloped the off-spinners, Andy Pycroft was at the helm when he dismissed Saeed Ajmal, Shoaib Malik, Mohammad Hafiz. All of their actions were reported when he was the match referee.
But see, that is what has cost them this. See what had happened, just for people to know, how is it that their demands changed? I think Pakistan Cricket Board firstly made a mistake, if you look at it from their point of view, to target the match referee. Okay, saying ban him, he didn't tell us in advance, and they were on a weak footing, because if you look at the rule book, he had done nothing wrong, right? So what could they have done? I'll tell you why this drama has happened. One is a face-saving exercise, and the drama has happened because I'm sure they were being put under political pressure. What had started happening in Pakistan media, because this drama started about Pycroft 2 days ago, right after the India game they spoke to. How is it that today new demands have come because of the new negotiations that happened, that we want an apology from Andy Pycroft, we want a different match referee, all of that. How did we also, another demand, we want some sort of action being taken against Surya Kumar Yadav for making a political statement. How did these things come about now and not 2 days ago? Because these incidents happened 2 days ago. So I'll give you a background. For the last 2 days, Pakistani media and the political media has been attacking the government and Pakistan and PCB, and because PCB is an extension of the government with their interior minister as they're in charge, saying that look at them, how weak they are. Look at them, that instead of dealing with India, who refused to shake hands, who brought about political statements of armed forces, Operation Sindoor, they have not targeted India at all. Look at the scaredy cats that run our country, whether it's the government level or this, that they are going after a match referee. This was the narrative in Pakistan media, and media has an impact. I think what has happened is, and what I picked up from a few journalists in Pakistan, is that then the pressure started going on the Pakistan government, that you have looked weak. So Pakistan government calls PCB, who's also part of the Pakistan government, and says that, listen, how can we be made to look like this? You have to bargain for more, show our people that we can stand up and say, demand for an apology from Andy Pycroft, and demand for some action against Surya Kumar Yadav for doing that. And that is why they change their demands. That is why this drama happens in the last 2-3 hours, that they're asking for more demands. But they also realize that while they're asking for these demands, they can't pull out of the tournament. Now, as far as their demands are concerned, sure, the negotiations can happen. I think what the ICC has said, that how can we, as you also pointed out, how can we put Andy Pycroft as the guy who's made any error as such? Yes, we have 2 minutes?
You have only 1 minute.
1 minute. So, in 1 minute, I'll just conclude. How can we be targeting Andy Pycroft? This is what ICC has said. He's done nothing wrong. What Pakistan is saying, that listen, Andy Pycroft as a match referee has to follow the rule book, and because Surya Kumar mentioned those two things, armed forces in the post-match presser and Operation Sindoor in the post-match presser with the media, one was at the presentation, one was in the media, that was Operation Sindoor. Both are political statements, and only a match referee can take action. I think the action typically whenever there's been a political protest has been about 20 to 25% on the match fee. And they think that the match referee in this case also, like it happened with Dhoni, like it happened with Usman Khwaja, if you had put a 20% fine to match referee, the issue would have been sorted. At least they would have shown that they've done something. They say Pycroft didn't do it, and that's their contention.
See, again, let me just give you a bit of a context as to this political statement and insignia, okay? When you look at insignia, when you look at Free Palestine, when you look at all the other bits, okay? What are they? Basically, you wore something physical. Remember? Yeah. You wore something physical, and then after that, you got sanctioned. In the 2019 case, Pulwama, you wore that army insignia. Free Palestine was worn by Usman Khwaja in his boots and Moeen Ali in the wristband that he had. The ICC clothing apparel does regulate that, okay, you cannot have any political statements on either of your jersey or on anything, any kind of political messaging,
Yes.
okay? But let me just refresh our minds of all those people who are like tweeting about, oh, how dare India mix politics in sport. Mohammad Rizwan tweeted about Gaza during the 2023 ODI World Cup, right? But why he didn't get sanctioned? Because his tweet came outside of the field of play. Okay? That was a tweet. Surya Kumar Yadav, after the match ended.
From the same tournament, you can mention what Zadran had did.
Yeah. Whatever he did, okay, it constituted outside of the field of play. Here, match ended.
No, Zadran did it during the press conference, in the post-match presentation.
Of course, that's what I am looking at. Post-match presentation and press conference, okay? Now, post-match presentation and press conference, that is the grey area. Does it come under the field of play? Because your game has ended. What do you define as field of play? When the match is going on and when there is a contest between bat and ball. Ibrahim Zadran and Mohammad Rizwan didn't get sanctioned because it was outside of the field of play. Rizwan did it in his hotel room after the game ended. Match ended, Surya Kumar Yadav gave that statement. Now, how on earth can it be classified as a political statement when the match is over? That's a grey area that I can argue. That we made political statements when the match was over. A press conference and everything, it is not happening during the course of a match. It happened after the match.
It's directly correlated to the match, right?
Sure. But I can argue, if people are so hell-bent on seeing some lacunae in the rules, I look at this as a lacunae in the rules. Field of play, does it define the presentation and the post-match press conference? So if I want to prove Pakistan wrong, which I'm hell-bent on, I want to prove them wrong, I can argue. He didn't make it during the field of play. He made it after the match ended.
Well, I think the thing with that is, and this has called for a lot of commentary, and Twitter has been abuzz since the time that happened, since the time that dedication came about also. There's the coach as well who had also reiterated the same sentiment, let's not forget. I think the problem lies with the fact that you were speaking as the captain about the match while being on the field. And that is where the problem arose. And by my understanding of the rule book, you are supposed to stay away from anything political, be it commentary, be it your thoughts, be it what you're wearing, all of that. There cannot be any sort of political messaging. You know, in football we've seen concrete action being taken and a few players been sanctioned as well, handed fines too for celebrations that are not allowed. You can't do the cross. Yeah, exactly. You can't do that cross celebration. Yeah. So we have seen in sport such actions happen, and for a reason you try and demarcate that territory of political and apolitical. The sporting arena is deemed to be an apolitical arena, and you're not supposed to bring in politics in any manner.
But Arshad, when Jadran Zakiri, right?
Yes.
He was the one, but he did it during the match, right? He didn't do it outside of the match.
He did it post-match only, just as Surya had done, I think.
Or once or twice the celebrations were during the match when he scored that goal against, I think it was Serbia, if I'm not mistaken. Switzerland versus Serbia in 2018.
Serbia, yeah.
I think he did it during the match to celebrate a goal.
No, I'm talking about what Ibrahim Zadran had done.
But did he get sanctioned?
I don't quite think so.
He didn't. You know where the ICC confounded and ensured that, okay, this opened up a whole can of worms? when they sanctioned Usman Khwaja for wearing Free Palestine during when he was practicing, not an official game. And that is where I think ICC will have to be called out for that particular fact. Because Usman Khwaja, had he worn it during the match, then yes, you should have sanctioned him. Agreed. But during practice, a private practice session, when he wore those shoes, do you think that was called for? I really don't know. I really don't know what to make of it at this point in time. So, Pakistan in no way cannot think about this as a political statement after the game has ended. For me, I think the definition of in your field play is when the last ball is bowled, and then after that, whatever are the formalities, you don't get penalized for it.
But Siddharth, see, this is where the problem I think lies. I think interpretation also, because see, Pakistan will then, by that, and there is no end to this then. If we are to go by what you're saying, then any team can go ahead, and after the match gets over, after the last ball gets done, you can go ahead and cite a historical incident. You can go ahead and say anything. Pakistan can go ahead.
Add to your
somebody had pointed out in the comments yesterday.
Shoaib Malik 2007, after the T20 World Cup final, what did he say? Something about the Muslims, right? In the post-match presentation, but he wasn't sanctioned for that. It was a proud moment for all Muslims. That's what he had said.
I think, Siddharth, what we need to understand is that the political sensitivities, the political narrative, the political sentiment globally has changed since that time. There are battles that we're seeing in the Middle East. There are battles which we're seeing. There are Cold Wars happening at the moment. India itself is involved in very tough negotiations on a couple of fronts. We didn't have the best relations with China as well until too long back. So at the moment, Israel, Gaza, everyone's very aware of. USA, Russia, everyone knows about. There is so much of political tension at the moment globally right now. I think everything, and for those reasons put together, sport, that era, let's say the late 2000s, as you were pointing out, was a different time altogether. Now we've reached a point where there is some sort of geopolitical tension in every part of the world, and it is getting intermixed, it is getting interspersed with sport now, and the lines are very thin now, or I would say they've now become non-existent. Those lines could perhaps be a thought of the past for now. At the moment, everything seems to have blurred, and it is very difficult now to keep sport away from politics.
You know what is the danger from all this, Arshit, like you pointed out? This can set a precedent for future India-Pakistan games when, supposing, God forbid, you lose on the 21st, then even Pakistan can give out a statement. Then we all have to be prepared to take it on the chin. This has opened a can of worms.
The 21st is not too far away. The 21st is not too far away. And in 4 days' time, you don't know what happens. We just saw yesterday how Pakistan cricketers, former cricketers for that matter, can be loudmouths, can just rattle off their mouths without thinking twice, be disrespectful, use unparliamentary language, derogatory to say the least, despicable despicable would be the word to best define it. And I will not be surprised if there is an ill thought of comment that comes in from one of the Pakistan players with regards to Operation Sindoor. It could be a blatant lie as well, as we've seen from the government too, but that's the narrative that's been put in the minds of the common people over there. And I won't be surprised if there is a wild claim that gets made in the post-match presentation ceremony. However, I do believe that the players will very well be briefed not to cross the line, but let's not forget that the can of worms is now open. Yep. It very much began the time that Surya Kumar Yadav made that comment. He did enter, let's face it, he did enter a bit of a grey area.
Not a grey area. So, if Pakistan gives it back, if suppose they win on 21st, be prepared for it, boss, because you asked for it. But that doesn't justify the fact that why was Surya Kumar Yadav wrong in saying that? No, I don't think so. You have to have this with Pakistan. For far too long, for far too many decades, we have had this leniency. And now why we are discussing this political situation? I am saying that there is no locus standi from which you can have any kind of, India made a political statement, how dare they? But Pakistan can make any kind of political statements outside the field by tweeting for free Gaza and all these other things. It's just that I believe post-match press conferences and presentations do not come under the field of play. The field of play is restricted to action when there is bat and ball. Okay, but the second part, so Pakistan have no locus standi on that. Pakistan also have no locus standi on match referees. They thought they can get away with by targeting a Zimbabwean match referee, but they have no standing even there also. But 1 hour delay.
No, Siddharth, like I pointed out, I think you need to look at the press conferences as well, especially the post-match presentation as part of you being on the field of play. The match may have gotten over, but what you're there for, your voice over there, you basically commenting on the match, and you're still there in your physical being as a representative of the sport, a representative of a team, and you are expected to follow these protocols as well. So while you're still there, you need to maintain those lines is what I feel.
Sure. So that means, see, now what has been the history of the ICC when you have to look at action taken? For Khwaja, they were asked to, they asked them to remove
the boots, yeah.
Same with Moin. It has at
Dhoni was also not penalized.
He was asked to remove.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that insignia was not to be seen. I think Ranchi was when you saw it first.
Yeah. And also they were threatening to do it in the India-Pakistan and India-England encounters at that point in time in the World Cup. But they were told strictly no. Okay. Now, what has been the history of action that the ICC has taken? Number one, it's only resulted in don't do this. It's just a warning. Or at max a fine. That is hardly a deterrent. That is hardly a deterrent to players who earn lots and lots of money in international cricket.
Would you say the same for Pakistan players though?
Which is why the inaction of the ICC, and because now, as you said, the can of worms has been opened, it's now a serious issue that you'll have to tackle going on later. We are not seeing the end of this. This will happen on 21st. This will happen on October 5. This will happen in February also. This is now the new litmus test. If India can take what Pakistan are saying when you lose, suppose, are you prepared for that? Because now you can't expect Pakistan to stay quiet. God forbid on 21st, if you lose, they make such wild comments.
I think this calls for a poll as well. Now, I remember what we were talking about 4 days back, and there was the large sentiment, or the sentiment at large, that people wanted to boycott the match, and look where it's gotten us. I now want to know from people, especially our family members joining us right now. Shima, if we can have a poll on that, will, after such drama, will people now watch round 2 of India-Pakistan if it happens on Sunday?
Why not? Now I want to know one more thing. Will the same boycott trend again? Will it trend again? Because see,
the emotion, the sentiment has just peaked now. I think what today's drama, or the drama I would say, over the last 72 hours, what that has done is it's taken things to the next level. Was there really a need? I don't know about that, but it's really gotten to a level where now everything about that match changes. Everything about that match changes.
We were often said, don't equate the war-like situation with a cricketing match on the field. I think you will see a war-like situation. This is tense, it is very tense at this point in time. And 21st is only going to peak it when you look at it. Because this was just round 1. Now, God forbid if there is a round 3 on September 28th, which is the final of the Asia Cup.
Polls up. All right then, we've got the poll up. I'm sorry to cut you short at that. The poll's up. Sham, we'll just show the poll as well. If you could show that poll to me too. It says, after so much drama, will you watch India versus Pakistan on the 21st? Obviously, it comes with a bit of an asterisk. For that, Pakistan need to win the match tonight. But we're just going ahead with the assumption that they will make easy work of UAE in a match in the match that is set to begin in 46 minutes from now. So the poll's up. Initial impressions of that poll, 51-49. It's
flipping.
It's flipping like anything. But yeah, we'd love to see where is it that you guys are on this one. Anyway, Siddharth, I'm sorry I cut you.
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very tense. I'm dreading 21st. I hope that there is no scuffle between the fans. I hope that there is no scuffle between the players. I just hope, because it's now boiling. You have to somewhere switch off the gas. But I don't see who will switch off the gas. Will it spill over? Will it result in tension? Will there be arguments? Supposing if one Pakistani gets an Indian player out, is he going to celebrate in your face, give you abuses left, right and center, which will now take a different meaning altogether?
I fear if that happens. I fear for the worst if that happens, in fact, because then the sort of backlash and the reaction that you expect from not just the Indian players, but from the Indian people, be it on social media, be it inside the stadium as well, I think that could make things rather ugly. The last thing you need is anything animated per se to happen on the field, because you don't know what to expect. There is an undercurrent, a very strong undercurrent on either side of the border, I would say. We know that Pakistan are also equally a cricket loving country, and just as our family members joining us right now, and those who follow Indian cricket, they know about what has happened over the course of the last 72 hours. The frantic, the sort of frenzy that we saw, and the frantic emotion over the last 2 hours, everyone is aware. And it's these little pieces that when you put together, and the fact that it's been a one-sided rivalry on the field, so the opposition gets more charged to be able to move in a direction where they can call it even Stevens or take it to a 50-50 sort of a situation. Everything put together, it just has charged that whole thing up so much. There's just so much heat underneath that pot at the moment, which is absolutely boiling. So I fear for the worst, if that happens, then things may just get out of control.
When you look at so much drama and tension, okay, I'll tell you politics across sport that has impacted a particular game. 1956 Hungary versus USSR, okay, blood in the water polo game, okay. What happened was, at that time in 1956, Hungary was invaded by the Soviet Union. The players didn't shake hands. One Russian elbowed, I think, one guy on the eye, and there was blood, and it fell into the water pool. The Hungarian population that was there in Australia at that time almost created a riot. They were going after the Russians. That was one instance when I saw that political tensions impacted sporting relations on the field. I also came to know, I think in 1986 in the FIFA World Cup, England versus Argentina, the Falklands issue. The Falklands issue had really been there, and Argentina and England has been really, they were on a boil, and I think there was a lot of tension on the field. Correct me if I'm wrong, Harshad, that 1986 match England-Argentina saw the hand of God.
Yes,
from
the two iconic goals.
Now imagine.
One you saw him dribble past, the other was the hand of God.
The other political tension that I have to look at it, these are the two major instances that I can think about, okay. Maybe 80s India versus Sri Lanka, there was some kind of tension due to the LTTE, but never so much as to, okay, we will boycott relations with you totally. India-Pakistan for the first time since 1990, when Pakistan refused to come to India. Now we are seeing the culmination of such political tensions, because this is an escalation. Let's make no mistake about it. What happened in the post-match presentation and press conference was one step of an escalation. Pakistan's drama today has escalated it even further, because it's not going to be good on 21st when you look at it. So I wonder what's going to happen. I really wonder, because see, what is the current situation? If we have to look at it, the Pakistan players have, I think, reached the stadium.
Yeah. They reached about half hour back, Siddharth.
Half hour back.
Yeah,
awesome.
I saw visuals of them leave the team hotel, and with the team hotels. And those visuals, in fact, Shivam says are up on Sports Today of the team departure or arrivals at the Shivam to the stadium.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So those visuals are up.
Yeah, those visuals are up. Great. So we have been giving you rolling coverage as to what has happened. You can also check out what all we have done in our lives. We have gotten guests. We have gotten people who have spoken at length about this particular situation. But I remember one of our panelists stating that in history, you've never been able to isolate politics and sport.
That's never happened.
It's never happened.
Never happened. And cricket,
the Olympics would never exist.
Exactly. The sport that we talk about the most in this studio, Siddharth, is a very unpopular sport. Absolutely. Is a very small sport globally. football has seen so much of this happen. The Olympics, the most watched sporting event
And the most political.
and the most political as well, has seen umpteen instances.
Yep.
So many that we can list at the moment. So many of those.
36. FIFA
Tennis.
Yeah.
Another sport which is consumed and played much more than cricket is. Tennis has seen plenty of handshakes being snubbed.
Yeah.
Tennis has seen so many statements being made.
Exactly. So yeah, this is, we are into the new era of cricket. Thanks to India and Pakistan now, we will see this spiral out of control totally. And I'm telling you, 21st it will spiral out of control. So it's not going to be easy watching, but you've got a lot of work then coming up in the next couple of days. So it's not going to be easy for our hearts. It's not going to be easy for our mental health. It's not going to be easy for all our
We'll cruise through.
fingers.
We'll cruise through.
Yep. So,
Anyway, before we go, we would like to take some of your comments as well. Charan says, Nikhil Bhai, Pak was saying to us, why didn't you boycott to us? Now this is comical at peak level. It's a comical board country chairman. Imagine after all of this, if they lose to the UAE, it would be drama of the highest order.
I had said, right, if Pakistan lose to UAE, if they had lost to the USA, both having United in their names, it would absolutely devastate Pakistan.
It would be possibly the biggest headline of the year if that was to happen.
For all this Notanki for this,
No, but let's be honest. I think they should be winning this one.
I mean, they beat them, not comfortably, but they did get on top
They
of
just
UAE
played the
in
tri-series, yeah.
It looks hard, but see, we are all saying that 21st India-Pakistan potentially is happening. So, I love mutton biryani saying, PCB chair, Naqvi asked time from ACC chair, PCB chair, Naqvi asked time from ACC chair Naqvi,
Also Naqvi.
to consult with Pak Minister Naqvi to come to the same conclusion, same match referee. Matlab Naqvi to Naqvi.
No, but I love mutton biryani. While that is very well put, and you've tried to make the whole thing circular, it's not quite that. While you're right that
He's a 3-in-1, I know.
ACC, PCC, and he's the minister as well. But there was real political pressure. Also, the matter was beyond the ACC. The match referee, remember, the tournament may be governed by the ACC, but the governing body of the sport remains the ICC, and for any event which may not directly be governed by the ICC, match referees still get appointed by the ICC. For this Asia Cup as well, 2 match referees were appointed, and that was Richie Richardson and the man that you know very well, Andy Pycroft.
So when we look back in our moments of 2025, Andy Pycroft will feature.
While it's a proxy account only on X, I must tell you guys something very funny, because his name started doing the rounds only on Sunday. In fact, it was Monday the time that his name really came to light. There was some proxy account of his that was made on X. It had about a couple of 100 followers. That's what I saw. Last I saw, it had garnered more than 2,000 followers, and by now I'm guessing that number would have exponentially gone up.
5 digits. It was 1 up to 5 digits. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a Twitter account. That much I know of Andy Pycroft. Yeah. So yes, but see, he's 3-in-1, Mohsin Naqvi, I know, but then he had to consult with the ICC. That's one major thing that you're overlooking in this mutton biryani. Ashish Dar, 21st India will be in a dilemma. Should handshake occur? That's a good question. Okay, Surya got backlash for shaking Mohsin Naqvi's hand during the captain's presser. He is now facing some level of praise and some level of criticism for not shaking hands. Up 21st, kare bhi to kare kya? What do we do?
Yeah.
I would say maintain the status quo. Don't go back, because see, if you shake hands,
you will not be shaking hands.
Yeah, because if you shake hands, the backlash that you'll get here.
Yeah, see,
you can't step foot in the country.
Also, it's too hot an issue right now. You'll burn your hand if you get close to it. The maintaining the status quo is the only way to go about it.
You will not get burned. You'll be incinerated. The country will not allow you to come back. Bhau realizes that. Surya Bhau. So that is why If he maintains the status quo, great. But if he's been told to shake hands,
no way. It's off the table.
Get ready for more hangama then. Does Pak have guts to do the same as today? If India was the opposition, no. They wouldn't have had the guts. Pakistan is a conniving and a very convenient country. They only target the minnows, by the way. They targeted UAE. Hai dum, do it to Sri Lanka, do it to Afghanistan, do it to Bangladesh, do it to India. I dare the Pakistanis to do it, but they won't do it. Because they don't have the guts to do it. You're right, they don't have the guts. Priyanshu, ये सब करके 21 वाले मैच का व्यूअरशिप बढ़ा दिया. Do you boycott it or do you not boycott it now? That's what I want to ask the boycott exponents. Will you boycott 21st? Will you boycott 5? Will you boycott February? Because you're going to face them 3 times. Confirmed 3 times.
Yeah.
Potentially 4. If, God forbid, if they reach the final also. First time in Asia Cup history. But by the way, this is the year of firsts. Anything can happen. So Desmond Haynes, he actually gave this comment even when I was doing the live.
The Desmond Haynes joining us?
Desmond Haynes. But he did in both lives that I did, he did ask this question. Why UAE has to agree to play late? Why they have to dance for Pakistan tunes? Early start may have given advantage. Who okayed the delay? UAE should demand apology for not respecting them and the fans.
UAE are well within their rights to take this issue up with the ACC. Well within their rights. And going by law, you can actually,
But there is no precedent.
There is no precedent. That's a different thing. And these are, in many ways, Desmond Haynes, these are very precarious circumstances. It's a first in the sport as well. And as I said, the tensions at the moment, unfortunately, have boiled over to the cricket field as well. So multiple parties coming, all stakeholders trying to ensure that the sport keeps on, that the match keeps, the match goes on, and play doesn't stop. But yes, you must understand that these are uncertain times that we are living in.
Yeah. AI, that's what AI is saying. What would be the reaction if Pakistan wins on the 21st and Salman dedicated the win to Pakistani Army and the Air Force? Al or AI? We have to get used to it. Because if we are praising Surya Kumar Yadav, then we also have to receive all that. And remember, Pakistan on that day will peddle plenty of lies. It's up to you to ensure that you don't fall for their lies. The factory of fake news emerges from Pakistan. So please.
Yeah, see, for a nation that wasn't even willing to admit that that they were in support of those who are raining terror, not just on India but elsewhere as well. Their own army base, they weren't willing to concede, was gotten hit strategically though by the Indian armed forces. What do you expect then? It was obviously after all that smoke started to billow, after there was visual proof that they had to admit to certain damage that was caused. And there was a lot of damage, in fact, not just certain damage. But they tried suppressing it as much as they wanted to.
Get used to it. If that happens, you have to get used to it. I'm sorry. You can't just have a holier than thou and say, oh, how dare they do it. No, we started it. We set the fire. Now we have to face it. Okay. 1 in a billion says 1972 Munich Olympics. Yes, we saw that terror attack that Black September had done on the Israeli athletes, where 11 Israeli athletes were killed. But that was part of a broader political situation that was happening. So that's why it had to happen. Abhishek Singh, no, Pak knows only drama, could draw eyeballs, and I would still not, because they'll be getting thrashed again and again. Well, let's hope. But Venkatesh BS, before we take what has gone on with the toss, mark my words, UAE will win the match and will end the Pakistan drama of no handshake controversy and removal of match referee Andy Pycroft. Wait and watch. Love.
He says love sports today.
Love sports today. I hope, Venkatesh, I hope that happens. Because if that happens, there is absolute...
I can tell you one thing, if Pakistan loses this match, you and I are in for a long night. And we're bound to have a lot of fun then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was the case. So, yes. Then, okay, so desperate for handshake, it's hilarious. Animesh, I know. But Pakistan getting hurt in this way, it's there in their...
Clutching on straws. Yeah. They picked up the wrong fight. You know, the outcome of all of this, the whole handshake saga, the whole handshake controversy could have been very different had they not barked the wrong tree. They've ended up barking the wrong tree. Going after the match referee was not the right approach. Perhaps pointing out what Surya had said with ICC could have yielded some sort of result or had some sort of action, genuine action been taken. I'm not saying there would have been a fine or a sanction, but it would have brought the issue to light for sure. The ICC would have been compelled to issue a statement, that is for certain. Whether action or not would have been taken is a different thing altogether. But that would have been the better issue to point out, to take to the ICC, not shoot off 2 letters and get them shut down, and now you'll be playing the match against under the tutelage of the same man that you didn't want.
So he's walked to the middle for the toss, Andy Pycroft. Pakistan versus UAE. That is why Pakistan, please find a place to hide here. You are an embarrassment. You are a global embarrassment. Not just in your cricket, but also you as a society and you as a nation are a global embarrassment. I will not say stop because you have gone beyond all that. So let's see Dubai. It's happening in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Hope that UAE win the toss and opt to bowl. Because chasing teams do well in the UAE.
Yes.
In Dubai. Abu Dhabi, it's different. Sharjah, it's different. So that's why... Oh boy, but I don't think...
Okay, can I tell you guys something?
Yep.
There is a statement that's been released by the PCB.
Okay, please.
And it says that the ICC match referee Andy Pycroft has apologized to the manager and the captain of the Pakistan cricket team.
Oh.
I continue to quote the statement. It further says that Andy Pycroft had barred the captains of India and Pakistan from shaking hands during the match. The PCB had strongly reacted to Pycroft's actions. Pycroft termed the 14 September incident a result of miscommunication and apologized. The ICC has expressed its willingness to conduct an inquiry into the code of conduct violation that occurred on the 14th of September. That's the statement that's been put out by the PCB. So
nice.
The apology that they were looking at, which also was a result of the tense negotiation that they had entered earlier today, because the stance was something else. We do know that they had asked for the removal of Andy Pycroft from the list of match officials for the Asia Cup. However, he not just stays, but he officiates this particular match as well.
UAE have opted to bowl, by the way.
And the UAE have opted to bowl.
Yep. So yes, that's a big statement that the PCB have given out at this point. So yes, we will be coming back very shortly with that. So yes, the match is happening.
Yeah.
So that drama has ended. That boycott and all that. But it will be great if UAE decide to upset the apple cart and beat Pakistan today. So yes, the poll which we are saying, will you watch the India versus Pakistan match?
Where are we on the poll result?
Yes, 55%. The 350 votes, over 350 votes that we have garnered, 351 votes and 55% have said yes. Yeah. And 45% have said no. So yes, the anticipation, like what certain people have said, yes, it has taken place. So yeah. Andy Pycroft has come as the match referee. Salman Agha and Wasim are the captains who there. Let's see. Will Pakistan make it to the Super 4 or will UAE do the unthinkable? We will be back at this point. Yes, Vishal Panchal, Andy Pycroft has apologized. We will be doing that video very shortly. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this dugout. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget, we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. From me, Harshit, and when you win from Nikhil, it's bye-bye. See you soon.